Toy helicopters with dangerous blades, a switchblade knife, and a slippery garden slide. Here are 10 banned toys that can kill, part 2. Number 10, dangerous helicopter. When you get a radio-controlled helicopter toy, your first thought isn't, how dangerous is this? It's not the real thing, and you shouldn't have to worry about accidents, right? But with this toy, you'd be totally wrong. The helicopter kit and spindle set from Horizon Hobby had a problem. The main rotor washer often came off. For a toy that's supposed to fly, that's enough to give you a panic attack when the blades shoot off the helicopter. It's like a spinning toy, but sharp enough to cause injuries to your face and eyes. If you're wondering how bad a defective toy helicopter's blades can be, the answer is terrible. Some time ago, a 19-year-old boy called Roman Perjak Jr. played with one of such toys. He's old enough to be cautious, so we can't say he was careless. Anyway, the blades came off his toy helicopter and scalped him across the face. By the time he was found, he had already passed. Roman's helicopter model wasn't different from the one issued by Horizon Hobby now. But the problems remain the same thing. It just shows how dangerous the toy can be and why it should be taken off our shelves. Number 9, Leatherman Children's Multi-Tool. We must have missed the memo that explained how hand tools are toys because we're still trying to process the production of this toy. Most parents usually want their kids to take after them, but most times little kids just want to eat and have fun. Fortunately for parents with kids who have a knack for fixing things around the house, the Leatherman Children's Multi-Tool could be the best birthday gift. But until you realize how dangerous it can be. The tool was made for children above the age of 9, and the company mentioned that it was designed with child safety in mind. Oh really? Then why is it on our list? Oh, that's right, it's not safe for kids. The company itself came out to say that the locking mechanism in the toy was faulty. And for those who don't know about the toy, you should know that it comes with a knife. Yes, you heard that right. So now we're giving knives to 9-year-olds. The fault could cause laceration risks, so the company recalled about 8,000 toys from both Canada and the US. Thankfully, there were no reports of injuries, but we shouldn't be taking second chances. Number 8, Slip and Slide. In 1961, Wham-O introduced the first slip and slide toy to the world. Since then, over 30 million units have been sold. The toy is made up of a sheet of plastic about 16 feet long, and at the end is an inflatable stop to prevent users from flying off. There are also many tiny holes across the entire side of the toy. For example, your garden hose goes into one of these holes, while water seeps out of the rest of the toy to make the sliding surface easy to use. To use it, you had to get on your stomach and slide across the wet plastic sheet. Sounds like a great deal for summertime, right? Anyway, the toy sounds excellent, but it's also one of the most dangerous toys in the entire world. The toy's designer made the slip and slide to hold kids' weight, but when adults and teenagers started to try the toy, they had to make a statement. Unfortunately, the toy could not support older kids and adults, so it started to break down. The result was a lot of injuries. Some little children and teenagers even ruined their spines for life. Currently, 7 adults and a teenager who used the toy are paralyzed in the neck. Some got neck injuries that may never heal. Considering what it did to adults and teenagers, the slip and slide was immediately taken off the shelves and banned. But it started to make a comeback in the 2000s, and to avoid the same mistake, the company clearly writes the age limit on the box. If you think that these were dangerous, now we'll take a look at dolls with robotic mouths, a fireworks, sword, and hoverboards. Number 7, Snack Time Cabbage Patch Kids. During the 80s, the Cabbage Patch dolls were some of the most popular toys. The dolls even came with a bit of an adoption certificate, so it's like your new toys are your kids. Not that that's weird for kids to adopt other kids or something, but I believe we're all parents at heart, right? But the problem was this. The toys came with mechanical jaws, which moved like a natural mouth. It was supposed to make the dolls feel like real kids. That is, real toy kids talking to actual human kids. Not that anyone asked for it, of course. The dolls came with some plastic food that they could be fed to make it more believable. Sadly enough, the toys could not tell between their meals and the child's hair or fingers. They kept trying to eat everything like a vacuum cleaner that never stops. Then the dolls started to eat one girl's hair one time, and it became so bad that even her parents couldn't help out. Naturally, they had to call the authorities for help. Mattel, the toy makers, came out later to say that there were no hazards caused by using their toys. Yeah, right. The company ended up giving back $40 to everyone who wanted a refund, and by 1997, they recalled the toys back to their factory. Number 6, Big Sword Fountain Devices. Of the many weapons made into toys, swords are one of the most popular next to guns. another toy that's a ton of fun but just as dangerous as fireworks. The best part of fireworks also happens to be the worst part, the fire and explosion. So what happens when you get a toy that combines swords and fireworks? You get big sword fountain devices. This toy is designed to look like a sword. It also has a fountain with sparks that shoots out at the top. So you're supposed to hold the sword and just watch the fireworks. Well, it sounds like a swell idea. There have been cases of injuries with the toy. On 2 occasions, the sword blew up in the hands of the little kids holding them. But thankfully, there were no deaths in each case. But there were other risks that we can't just turn a blind eye to. First, this toy could cause burns or set children on fire, which isn't how toys should work. The company stopped making more of the toy after selling 1,040 toys. To avoid a sanction, the company recalled all of the toys that had been sold. Good riddance. Number 5, hoverboards. In 2015, a new line of flashy hoverboards was released, but they weren't attractive for long because they started catching fire. There were many reports of scooters and hoverboards just blowing up when used for several hours. Eventually, they were banned in many states and cities, and stores stopped selling them. In the end, about 10 companies that made hoverboards recalled over 500,000 units after more than 100 reports of fire accidents. Since then, the government has passed laws that ensure that the hoverboards we get are safer and less likely to blow out like fireworks. But this still doesn't guarantee the safety of hoverboard users. In fact, recently some scooters from Razor showed signs of battery problems, which is usually the cause of fires, causing the company to recall about 237,000 units. Next time you want to hop on one, you just might want to rethink. Number 4, Elliptigo. According to the LA Times, scooters are one of the most significant contributors to injuries caused by toys every year. As a result, they often cause collisions or falls, injuring users. These injuries are worse in children, as they're more likely to dislocate or fracture a bone than with any other toy. And instead of helping to make things go a little easier, we have companies that just make more dangerous toys for kids. For example, meet Elliptigo, a machine that looks like an elliptical exercise machine and a bicycle. It's quite similar to a hoverboard because it also requires you to stand while riding. And while it might look considerably safer than the hoverboard, it has also caused a number of injuries that would cause you to change your mind. In 2013, the company recalled some of its units because it caused around 11 accidents, and one of the accidents caused serious injuries. How could this be a fitness tool and cause people to have accidents? Definitely not what I want to see when I go to the gym. Starting out, things get serious. It's now time to look at a doll with magnets, a polymer toy, and rockets that run on water. Number 3, Polly Pockets. Mattel recalled over 4 million of its Polly Pockets doll sets in 2006. Why was this? Even though the toy was small in size and quite adorable, its magnetic close changed everything. And guess what? It's a bad idea to add magnets to everything because it only gets worse. The colors of the magnet made them look like candies, making them the worst thing to give to kids. So there were many reports of kids eating the magnets. Even older kids who used the magnet as lip or nose piercings soon mistakenly swallowed it without knowing. Whatever the cause, the end was not pretty. Swallowing many magnets is terrible for the body because they can join together on the inside. When this happens, they may start damaging organs and tissues, like the stomach and walls of your intestines. If left untreated, it may lead to death. The only way to get the magnets out was through surgery. Polly Pockets have better designs now, and we hope they'll stay that way. Number 2, Doodlebutt water-absorbing polymer toys. This toy is made from a soft material and has multiple colors. On the outside, it looks like a pack of jawbreakers, which makes it look more interesting than it should be, especially for kids who eat without asking. Swallowing the Doodlebutt water-absorbing polymer toys isn't the best idea. It can grow in size in several parts of the body. For example, it can cause vomiting, discomfort, dehydration, and obstruction in the stomach and intestines. But the weirdest part of this toy is that it's invisible under x-rays. So even if you swallowed one, the doctors wouldn't know how to proceed with you. There have been many accidents with toys like this. Hello, Aqua Dots. Unfortunately, there was a case of an 8-month-old child who had to go under the knife for swallowing this toy. Another case outside the US led to the death of the child. Man, how unfortunate. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for. Number 1, Splash-Off Water Rockets. In the beginning, the Splash-Off Water Rocket seemed like a pretty sweet toy that couldn't hurt a fly. It runs on water. How bad could it be? Pretty bad, it turns out. After coming out in the 90s, the toy injured many kids. In some cases, the rockets exploded because of water pressure. Ohio Art Company, the toy makers, were contacted with reports of their toys falling apart and the injuries they caused to kids' forehead, shoulders, and hands. It didn't take long for the company to recall the toy, and soon more than 67,800 splash-off water rockets were out of the market. I can't even imagine how scary this toy is. Man, what's really up with these toy makers? Like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon.